back with another book tag.
Book tag jamboree. Woot.
All right.
I said woot.
We are going to do
A book tag.
a classics book tag.
Ooh.
This is from Book Time with Elvis, and I'm not sure what it's actually called.
Wait, is it the real Elvis?
Yeah, he left the building,
I
though.
didn't know what a big reader he was.
I'm not sure if the tag is called Classics Tag or if it's just something else, so I apologize, because I found this through, like, people and then took a picture, and, so I suck at
very
life.
clear.
All right.
So here's a tag of stuff.
All right, so anyway, this is all about classics. It's going to have prompts, and we have to pick a classic that relates to each of these prompts.
Great.
And this is good because, like, we never really talk that much about classics because we read them and then have moved on with our lives, and they don't come up that often. All right.
I'm afraid we're going to keep trying to have the same answers.
Luckily, we've read enough.
We'll see.
All right, a classic with a gripping plot and universal themes. I'll let you go first.
Ooh, a gripping plot and universal themes. Huh. All right. I think I'm actually going to go with Dracula for this one because it's got a sort of classic plot of good guys versus bad guys. There's chases and adventures to, like, keep you focused. The characters are great, but it also has all sorts of universal themes of, like, love and repression and not fitting in and being on the outskirts and sort of like people like overcoming their fears and all that kinds of stuff. That's sort of universal themes throughout. Yeah, I think that fits. Dracula.
Okay, I'm going to go with, and I don't know how gripping the plot is, but it's short and it's engaging enough, I know, with students, and I'm going to go with Animal Farm. Because, and it has universal themes, because obviously it's dealing with, like, power and corruption and, you know, the way people are treated, labor, class structure.
Are mice comrades?
I don't know. But it is, I would say the plot's gripping because, I mean, there's a decent amount of action and there's, like, it moves along quickly. Because a lot of the things, I was like, oh, Jane Eyre, but it's not really gripping plot-wise. So I would say Animal Farm because, I mean, it does move and, you know, things happen, so.
Things do happen.
All right, something subversive. That's a classic.
Subversive. All right, I'm going to go with Brave New World. Classic sci-fi, obviously, where the whole thing is basically talking about how society is screwed up and how we don't value the right things and how our caste system is a nightmare and ruin everything and how technology will eventually tear down society. And it's great. It's obviously like anti almost everything. It's great.
Right. I'm going to go with one that was banned for being subversive, and that's Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah, it was an obvious one. I didn't want to take it from you.
Right, because that was why people didn't want anyone reading it, because it's considered subversive. And I mean, essentially a teenager questioning everything and talking about how authority is just a bunch of idiots and that the rules are there for no apparent reason was, like, you know, completely shocking in the late 40s and early 50s. All right, a classic that defines time and place.
All right, I'm gonna go with Huck Finn.
Yeah,
I feel like that's pretty
a good one,
staple for the era it's set in. I mean, that's basically like the whole juice behind the plot is that the main character sort of his morals don't really fit in with the time and place that he's set, which is what drives the sort of the entire plot forward. Great story. Somehow Huck Finn has become underrated. You know, it's like the Great American Novel. It's still somehow underrated by people.
I'm not gonna go with, like, the obvious, but I'm gonna go with, for disillusionment in the early 20th century, I'm gonna go with Sun Also Rises. Because it's after the war and it's like how they were completely lost and really weren't sure what to do with themselves. And I feel like while it has universal concepts, it's very, very specific. The, like, sort of misery hanging over the story is very much about what do you do after World War I. You know, it was the war to end all wars that didn't end all wars. And, you know, that feeling of complete and total, like, sort of nihilism.
Nihilism.
All right, the next one is complex and groundbreaking classic.
Oh, that's tricky. All right, screw it. I'm gonna go with, like, one that's really obvious, I suppose. Frankenstein. I was kind of hoping to get to this list without going for Frankenstein, But I mean, it's groundbreaking in that
that's what I was
it's
gonna go
one of
with.
the first sci-fi novels of all time. It's one of the first gothic novels of all time. I think it's the first majorly successful novel written by a girl. Woman. She's 18 when she wrote it. She's a girl of all time. And it's just overloaded with incredible depth and thematic parts. And it's just, people have argued, and it's hard to argue against them. It's the greatest novel of all time.
And it's complex too. It's not just groundbreaking. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you can't say you could say like
loaded with subtext.
Freaking Robinson Crusoe, but no one really likes that book.
I mean, where's that part with the wolves?
All right, I'm gonna go with which I actually haven't finished reading, but I'm gonna go with Mrs. Dalloway because it was.
Didn't I read that? Oh no, I read The Hours.
Yeah, because it's stream of consciousness, which was groundbreaking and complex, and also it is about like women's issues, which was like just completely unheard of at the turn of the century. And Virginia Woolf is like known for, essentially breaking new ground and talking about things that people generally didn't talk about. So I'm gonna go with that one.
All right, I'll allow it.
All right, one that is full of archetypal characters.
Huh. All right. I guess. What the heck? I'll go with Fairy Queen.
Yeah.
Which is Spencer classic sort of adventure novel where each character, most of them don't even have names. They're just representative of what they mean. Like the main character's name is Red Cross Knight because he represents like Christianity and heroism and sacrifice and stuff. And the whole book is basically full of stuff like that.
All right, I'm going to go with Pilgrim's Progress for the same reason. It's like Christian, and he meets like, I forget the names now, but they're all like named for like personality and like a feeling and an emotion and an experience. So, I mean, I was like, I could go Lord of the Rings, but it's like more modern, so I wanted to go with like something old. All right, a complete one-off. So I guess an author who like accomplished something and then just kind of disappeared.
Can they have written a second book, even if no one cares that much?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a bit of a reach because he has a couple other things that are a little bit popular, but nothing anywhere near this. I'm gonna go with Moby Dick by Melville. Yeah. Although, yeah, he's got Billy Budd, which people like know about, but I don't think it's that big. And of course, the Prefer Not to Do, which is like a novella. But Moby Dick is one of the most famous books in the history of the world. It's another one of those books that's sort of like in the running for like great American novel. It's just an epic of, I don't even know how to describe it beside like being like this legendary epic that everyone knows, but even people haven't read it, people know about it. And half the book is amazing, and half of it's not that fun to read. But half of it's amazing.
I'm going to go with The Awakening, because I don't think she wrote any other novels. I think she wrote short stories. Kate Chopin?
Mm-hmm. I know who she is.
Yeah, I just don't think she wrote any other novels.
Yeah, I don't know either.
And if she did, I haven't heard of them. So therefore, I would say that would be a one-off.
Yeah.
Some of the ones we've used, Frankenstein, or she wrote another book but no one cared, and Dracula, he has other stuff that sucks, but like we've already used those. So,
right.
All right, a book you quote from all the time. That's a classic.
Oh my.
Oh, I know which one you're going to use.
What am I going to use? Oh yeah, I forgot that entirely. So yeah, I guess I got to go with Fahrenheit 451 because it was a pleasure to burn. He was a shrieking blaze. He strode in a swarm of fireflies. So there's a lot of quotes in that book. I love that book. It's one of the best written books I've ever seen in my life. And as I've said many times before, the best first page of any book in the history of words.
Yeah, I don't know any classics because I don't quote from things very often. Can you think of one I quote from a lot? That's a classic.
There was the book that's always like, "Hey, will you get me this?" Is there any books that have that for a quote? Because if so, you say that a lot. You're not responding. I feel like. What about that Gables crap?
I don't really quote from it, though.
Yeah, because it sucks.
No, it doesn't suck, and you're making me upset when you say that.
Okay, what about...
I'm going to say Hamlet.
Oh, I quote from that too.
Yeah, or basically any Shakespeare, but Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet in particular, I quote from those. But I quote Hamlet a lot. I like Hamlet. I relate to Hamlet, so that's going to be my one I quote from all the time.
Right. You can give us a quote? Throw us a quote out there.
I could
Not
be
quintessence. Oh, infinite space.
Yeah, I could be bound in a nutshell and count myself the king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams.
Yes.
Or
yes.
I might have messed up the quote, but basically
Yeah,
that's it.
that's fine. We get the point.
All right, and so the last one is a rediscovered classic or a book you think should be a classic in the future.
Okay, yeah, I got one.
Mm-hmm.
This is not old enough to probably be a classic, but it probably should be a classic. I'm going with Book Thief, which is just like has all the feels of a classic novel, and that it's set in a very significant time period, World War II. It has incredible characters. It has a really well detailed plot that's like slowly evolves in a very effective way, and has moments of earth-shattering agony. What else do you want in a classic?
I am going to say,
Ooh, that is good.
I feel like I know of some that I've loved that I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, it's hard to be like, that should be a classic, but like, you know, I think I stole the best choice. Uh-huh.
Well, I haven't read that thing you read about the light.
Oh, the light you cannot see?
Yeah.
You think that could be, I mean, I could see that, but you didn't read
I
it.
would say A Little Life.
Oh.
It's beautiful, and like it's heartbreaking, and I think it's one of those books that is definitely going to be very difficult for a lot of people to read, but I could see, I mean, I don't see anybody at any point in history, you know, moving forward into the future. I just can't see somebody not loving it if they can handle the content. It is dark, but I mean, the characters are incredibly authentic, incredibly well written, and it's just the kind of story that I think impacts you in a way that makes you just like reevaluate everything about your life. So
that's it?
Yeah.
That's all it does?
That's all it does.
Well, lame.
Classic. All right. That was it. Bye.
Boop.